Hi, everybody, and welcome back for another week of PUBG Weekly. My name is Frost, and for this episode, I'm joined by Crimson, Porsaurus, Hayes, and we got a special guest appearance as well. This week we're gonna dive a lot into PUBG Europe League. It's a big thing. There has been open qualifiers. We gotta dive into the close qualifiers and try to break it down for you guys as best as possible as well. Now, except for this, we're also going to be looking into PUBG Online. We got First Blood 10K Invitational, the Face It Sunday Cup that just started this Sunday, and we're also going to talk about the competitive version 4 settings that is being tested right now. So, let's jump straight into it. Welcome, everybody. Now, we're going to be talking about the PUBG Europe League and how the qualifier will work. We're going to break it down to you so you know everything about it. So, to begin with, we do have the open qualifiers, which was an online event, and it was best of 4 played down in 3 different regions. Now, it was best of 4 every turn, and every turn it was the top 8 that moved on until they had the top ones that was moving on to the close qualifier. So the 3 different regions are EU West, EU East, and MEA. From EU West, you have 7 teams that qualified to close. From EU East, it's 6 teams qualifying. And from MEA, it's 4 teams. So all these teams from the open will go throughout to the close qualifiers. That's 17 teams. Joined by them is 15 other teams that are already invited straight to the close qualifiers. So altogether, we have 32 teams, and these teams will be breaking down into 2 different groups. You have Group A and Group B. This group will be playing best of 15 in an offline event, and the top 8 after these best of 15 games will move on to the final stage of the close qualifier. Now, the final stage, it's the same. Offline event, you have best of 15 again, and this time, though, it's the top 10 that will qualify straight to the PUBG Europe League. And they will be joining up with the 6 teams that are already invited straight to the league itself. Now, the bottom 6 teams from the final stage of close qualifiers that didn't make it to the PL will be joining the Contenders League. And Contenders League itself will be 32 teams. The 32 teams, you have 6 there already from the close qualifiers. And the rest of the 26 teams will go through another qualifier to figure out who those will be. And pretty much that's how the qualifier works for the PUBG Europe League.
There's going to be a quiz, so I hope you're following.
Yeah, it's a pretty complicated system, but it's a nice balance of invites and actual qualifications, I think. Yeah, I mean, one thing that I know some people were saying about was the fact that only, people who got into the final stage of the finals got through to the Contenders League, and the other guys who got into the Group A and B section but didn't qualify, they then have to play another qualifier to go into the Contenders League. I know some people are a little bit upset about that. But
I think it's totally fair because you have already half of the teams to the close qualifiers are directly invited. Now, should they be direct invited to the contenders with that as well? I'm not sure about that. So I think it's a good system because you have to earn your way into the contenders instead of like taking up all those spots straight away, letting all the other teams not being a part of it, because you have a lot of good teams that didn't make it through the open qualifiers right now.
Yeah, I mean, another problem with, not problem, I'm pulling out problems for no reason. I think generally it's a pretty good system, but the other kind of issue that came up was best of 4s in the open qualifier. Now, I know a lot of people want at least a minimum of best of 6, preferably best of 8. There's only so much time, there's only so much admin power available to do all these qualifiers, right? But certainly best of 4 is kind of a low amount. People saying, you basically win one game with enough kills and you're kind of through, as long as you play the rest of the games normally. So there's an issue there, but I guess along the way they played enough games to get to this point that you can say that they've earned their way.
I don't think it was totally wrong to have best of 4, just because it was the top 8 from every best of 4 that moved on. Now, would it have been like top 3 or top 4 teams that moved on instead from each group? Then the best of 4 wouldn't have been enough. But since it's top 8 out of 16 teams that moves on, I think that best of 4 is pretty fair, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand you would if you're having 16 teams in 4 games, you just need to average being better than average around 8th place.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess that's reasonable to ask. I mean, you could either pull one good game out of the hat and have a couple of other bad games, or you could just be consistently in that top 10, and you'll be fine. I would think. I mean, it's still, we're obviously kind of like making excuses here, but I mean, it is what it is, right? It's 4
Yeah.
games, like Crimson said. There's only a certain amount of time that they really have to do all this stuff. So, I mean, you just kind of have to work with what you got. You're going to have to, as a team, I think you have to know you're going into a 4-game set and adjust your play style accordingly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we know all about Europe, Pora. What do we know about NA?
Not shit. Well, so if you look, okay, if you look at how Europe did stuff, right, and we also look at, the most recent tweet where they were kind of showing how the structure is going to be with that first big international LAN going off in April, right? Okay, well, you can kind of work back from that and kind of figure out what's going to happen, at least get a general idea, right? So, you're going to have at least 8, maybe 9 weeks of regular season. So that counts, takes out February, January. You have to assume that the league itself is going to have to start at some point in January. So if you're looking at times for qualifiers, work back from there. You got, beginning of January, end of December. That's all holiday season. That's all right out. You look back farther than that. You got, we're already in the middle of or beginning of November, almost to the middle of November right now. I think that you can definitely expect, if the qualifier process is going to be for as long for North America as it is for Europe, as far as, getting all those qualifiers done and finally working through each stage, you have to assume that it's got to start here, maybe at the end of November, at the latest early December to middle of December. They have to have that kind of stuff figured out by the middle of December if they're going to get everybody time enough to, if they qualify for the LAN League, to try to make that move, get the teams over into wherever that LAN is going to be held. But I mean, we're at this point, we're running out of time. It's got to be, if you're a team and you're trying to plan your schedule and look ahead to when these qualifying processes are going to be, I think you have to be ready to go. I would say Thanksgiving weekend. I mean, you need to be ready right around
Thanksgiving
which
weekend,
that's
everybody has to know that.
I'm sorry, I forgot I'm American. So that's 2 weeks away. So November 22nd is Thanksgiving. I would think that in the next couple of weeks here, before Thanksgiving, before the 22nd, I think we'll have a better idea of what to expect as far as the qualification process for North America. And I will say from what I know, and it's understandable. A lot of these teams, a lot of these players are just going absolutely nuts about this stuff, and then the rumor mills are just spreading, and people are starting to get really negative about things instead of being excited and hype about the prospect of qualifying for this league.
I think the general problem that a lot of the people at home doesn't see with it is that it's played at a LAN. The league itself is a LAN event.
Yeah.
So you have to go there every week. So now if you're a qualifying team, some of the teams might want to get like a gaming house or housing that they could actually be at that area all the time. So because LA is West Coast, now let's say you're a team from the East Coast, that's a lot of time difference. So you don't want to be living on the East Coast, having to travel to the West Coast every week just to play 3 days and then go back. Now you want to stay there. And that's a thing for the orgs itself to get housing, everybody to make sure, all right, we can move over there no matter what. Like, I don't know if you have kids and stuff like that. It's a big problem. So everybody wants time to prepare themselves. And it goes the same with EU right now. We don't actually know where the location is going to be. All right, how do we prepare ourselves for it?
Yeah,
that's a big thing.
It's just a lot of questions. It's a lot of questions and a lot of nervous players out there, a lot of nervous orgs out there. But hold fast. We're going to get there these next couple of weeks. You have to imagine in the next 2 weeks or so, maybe even in the next week, we'll have to hear something coming down, just so that they can get something on the books and they know that this thing is going to pop off.
Yeah, don't forget to follow us on Twitter. We'll make sure that as soon as we get information, try to put it out there on our Twitter so you get the information.
Absolutely.
So
Leaks
we don't
everywhere.
know. We don't know which teams are going to get through on NA. Obviously, no qualifiers yet. We haven't had the EU East qualifiers yet, but we have had the EU West qualifiers and the MEA qualifiers. So we can have a look at some of their teams now and see who got through. Yeah, so we had the EU West qualifiers. So starting from the top, we had Havu coming in the top, Charge, Isuba, San Domicile Fixe, Ardent Esports, Loot Goblins, and Zogdinam as the top 7 qualified teams for EU West. And then in the MEA region, we had Crew Esport, Griffins, Team Ready, and Team Chargers.
All right, so for the close qualifier, West, the direct invited teams will be Reciprocity, TSM, Alliance, Method, Pentasports, Moonwolf, Accelerate, Besiktas, and G2. From the EU East, the invited teams to the close qualifier is M19, Avangar, Sureka Pomagai, and Tornado Energy Battle. And from the MEA region, we have invited teams to the close qualifier is Galatasaray and OHM. And moving on, we do have a few teams that we think are invited straight to the Pro League. And Poro, will you take us through them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, given that they haven't showed up in any of the closed qualifier announcements or any of the open qualifiers, it's kind of the assumption that these guys will be getting that direct invite to the PEL. But that's going to be your FaZe, Liquid, Ninjas in Pajamas, Knights, Vitality from EU West, and throw in an extra Na'Vi from the EU East.
Pretty juicy lineup, I'd say. Pretty juicy lineup.
Pretty juicy indeed. I mean, I think when you talk about doing direct invites, I don't think there's really any. I mean, the only argument I can really see against any of those is maybe Na'Vi, just because the new roster hasn't been performing so hot recently in lands. But everybody else on that, I mean, FaZe and Liquid, I mean, that's a given. Ninjas in Pajamas have been playing, fairly well. Knights kind of on the slide recently, but I would still put them up there. And Vitality has kind of turned things around in a big way since PGL. So I don't have any real problems with any of these direct invites that you're seeing.
I mean, also with the close qualifying invites, I think it's been a really hard choice for whoever has been doing this because of all the roster changes, right?
Yeah.
It not only like you have all these teams, but it's like some people went from one of those teams to another team, and how do you like score them in like order and stuff like that? It's gotta have been some hard work behind it.
There's some question marks, right, Crimson?
Yeah, of course. There's.
I think. Yeah, sorry. I think they've done a good job of like mixing the invites based on, like, obviously there's some invites based on org, like we know that's going to be the case. They want the Pro League to have the best orgs in there, and I'm pretty much behind that, even if some people maybe aren't. But they've done a good job of mixing them, making sure that pretty much every team that we think deserves an invite kind of gets invited, whether it's to the closed or to the direct invites as well. I don't think anyone can really feel like, damn, we should have got an invite, like look at our results and we didn't even get a chance. I think everybody's had a chance that should have got one.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the question marks, and I think you hit the nail on the head, and people have to be realistic when they're looking at this. Like, yes, a team like TSM, yeah, they do have some question marks. They have roster question marks. We know that they have a new roster. Don't really know what that is just yet. Don't know how that's going to play out. We know, rumors are there's got some good players on it. But if you ever thought that TSM wasn't going to get a direct invite to at least the closed qualifiers, you're nuts. I mean, if in order for these leagues to succeed right off the bat, we do need these big organizations and the fan bases and viewer numbers that they bring in to make it succeed. I mean, at this point, I would just say be thankful that TSM didn't get a direct invite to the Pro League itself, because at least they're having them go through the closed qualifier process. So I mean, I think that the direct invites are all teams that have proven themselves in the past, and I think that they are worthy of those direct invites if that happens to be the case, which we're not 100% sure, but indicators are that it's that way.
Yeah, pretty big indicator on it, but I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you were saying before about Na'Vi is just it's got to be hard as well for these guys. As you said, roster changes. Like Navi's been known to be a dominant player in the scene in the EU East region, right? You're coming up with a list at the maybe months ago, and you come up with this list. You're going to put Navi on that list, and they can't always kind of assume that they're going to keep up the same roster, the same results, that sort of thing, and they can't change these things last minute just because they suddenly think, actually, wait, your last result or two wasn't that good, They got to go with what they've got. So it's not a bad
That's the only one that I would argue. I would argue Navi and M19, maybe. You could flip that. But again, Navi, I think in that, it's kind of 1A, 1B, and I think with Navi being the bigger org, I think you give them the invite to the direct invite.
I kind of like, if I would flip one of those teams, it would be Navi and Avanger, actually. Because I think that the new Avanger team is probably the strongest team in the EU East region right now. They've showed themselves in GLL before. They've showed that they are dominating that one, more or less. They are really solid. And it's players we've seen from the other teams that came together and formed this solid team.
But as
M19's been performing since season 2 finals, though.
They have, but I still don't think that they are better than Avanger or Navi.
No, but as I say, I think they were probably putting these invites together before Avanger picked up random friends and became that Avanger that are good, right?
I don't know, man. I think you're giving them a lot of credit for forward thinking here.
Maybe they had a whiteboard in the office with potential invites or something on there. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing about. I will say that's a good thing about Star Ladder being kind of behind the orchestration of the Pro League, is that they do have, they have experience with these teams. They know they're involved in the scene. So it remains with North America, a little nervous about that one because OGN is just kind of coming in out of nowhere. So we'll see. Hopefully they do end up doing a little bit of research. And I'm sure that they will. I mean, OGN is.
Yeah. I mean, you also have, it's probably also some people from PUBG Corp that is handling the esports section of NA. Alex Penn, for example, that probably has some information, and they're going to be giving it to OGN as well to help them out, making sure the best teams will be there.
Right, well, I think we have some clips from the EU West and the MEA qualifiers to show you. It was done by some of the community casters, D-Man and Avenger and some of the other guys. So I know he's not going to enjoy me calling him a community caster.
Community caster, man.
Let's run the clips.
Ran straight in. BSD catches one in the window, though. Heaviness goes down as they push in. There's two-man push. They got one upstairs, one outside. It's the man outside, Soulfly, that's going to be the problem. They get a focus on him. He gets another knock. Tries to get a peek around the side. Not going to double peek. He gets pushed from behind. Was ready for it. Will finish him out, flush him. His second teammate will go down. They cost him a lot. But it's going to be BSD that comes out on top. Can he get Kalimdor back up? They're getting pressured now. Look at this, coming straight through the door. Ready and waiting for it. Buyaki tries to push on him, gets him back around the side of the tractor, gets another down. BSD is going off right now. The only man in the zone. A beautiful death caught out. I think this time he's no coming back from this on the Org of Koski. He's going to go over the peak. He sees them all. Just gets a peek over the side, but it's too much of a peek. The rest of the team go for it. Crew going around the side. Team ready to get eliminated in fourth place. A really nice push there from Barambara, but now he's going to get picked off on the side. He gets caught out by TOA. And the Griffins are suddenly, out of nowhere, in a great position to win this. BSD's going to go for the peak. Will Laza find him?
So you might have heard him run up there, or maybe have some information. BSD's going to come up above him. Oh, Laza, turn on him. Look at this. Oh, BSD's going to take him down. That's a great win. And a knock onto Copper Magic. So now it's 2 players down from charge.
Pushing it. Oh, that did not go well. Maverick gets him down and charge. Wiping out C-Play here. C-Play going to push around the side. Another spray down. Tizza picked off by Wanted. Little support from his teammate. Spins around and C-Play are done and out in 7th place.
And Georski and Six is going to go down in 3rd place. That's Hardward in 3rd. And this hurt.
2 on 3. 2 on 3. And look at this, fantastic. This is ballsy play, but his Maya backfired. Oh no, he's gone too far, and that was too much. And Aki's suddenly the last man standing, I think, for his team. He's got Vaxu, with him as well. Vaxu's actually on a really good flank. He's just down by this tree. Don't think he realized it. Vascu, he's got to get the peak out. It's going to be such a big peak. Fantastic's been finished. Vascu and Eki Vasky with 5 frags. Premi with 5 frags. Hjotan with 4. This is big for Owenza. Yaki's got 1. Lareni did get revived, but he's back on down. Vasku finally peeks out. There we go. The 1 knock. Sees the second. Should be able to find him, and he will.
Nice.
And Zuktat now will come out on top with 13 kills. That is a great start for them.
Once it's going to be fun, they're going to go out in 4th. And now,
In the middle, they're
Holo.
pushing for it. Ludabas on Hollow. He's going to get around the side. Owenza, like you said, good to go down. Oh, he landed so many shots. How did he not go down? Doesn't matter. Sesko pushed around the side, and they have gone picked apart. Nuki, in the end, will secure the kill. And I think Sans Doma style, they're down to 1, just THZ. So Havu has been creepy crawling his way into 3rd. He may even get 2nd here. The way it's going. THC sees 1, gets up, gets onto ground. Will he see Nuki? I think Nuki might see him. Force gets across the side, gets the spray down. Oh, he's got another one. THC's going huge here. Can he finish him off? Nuki gets the spray down. He finishes him off. Sans Damasal goes down in 3rd place. And now Nuki is in a 1-on-1 with Kissa. Havu might take the victory. No, Kiss gets in the end. But my word, Havu, how they creepy crawled it in. And Nuki nearly went mad for them. But it's Uken Mixer gets it with 8 kills in the end.
Breaking news! Dateline, November 10th at 12:03 p.m. TSM has actually announced their new roster. Joining Rory will be not Wild Turtle. That's a different game altogether. This is Turtle PUBG, along with Gustav and Wookie Bookie. Guys, this is a spooky roster, at least on paper. I know each of these players are really good individually.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see this team playing together. I know most of them, of course, since before. Actually, all of them. And I mean, some of the best players in the scene, I'd say, gather up together now. Now we've seen Wookie Bookie and Gustav play a lot before together in different teams, joining in with Turtle as well. So we got like 3 Danes now joining up with Rory, the UK guy. I mean, it's something to look forward to
on these guys. Like, they've been in some of the top teams, right? So
yeah,
I'm sure everybody kind of knows their names. But with Wookie and Gustav come over from Dignitas, and Turtle previously from Ghost. So like, those are big names in the scene, right? So it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
And another big news is that we actually have a new league that will be coming up. We've seen the trailer just a few days ago, and it is OSL we're talking about, OGN Super League. Now, this league will be played through November 27th until December 2nd, and it's a prize pool of 60,000 euros in total. And we got a few teams that we know that will be playing in this one, and it is Team Liquid, Pittsburgh Knights, Pentasports, Ninjas in Pajamas, Moonwolf, Method, M19, FaZe Clan, and Alliance. Now, there will be a few more teams. It's got to be 60 teams in total, if I'm not totally wrong. And I mean, we don't know who the other teams are right now, but this is all the information we have. And I mean, we'll come back to it as soon as we know.
Yeah, one thing I can add to this, for all those North American fans that might be watching, getting a little like, what are you doing, OGN? You're going and starting doing a tournament in EU. It's a different branch of OGN. So it's not the same people that are in charge of setting up OGN Pro League. These aren't OGN NA, not really a part of this this thing that's going on as far as this is concerned. So no problems there, but really excited to see what OGN kind of produces as far as a tournament with nothing but European teams in it. Should be pretty sick.
Yeah,
also, online production on everything. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's going to be exciting to see what's going to be happening.
Yeah, I mean, we'll cover it when it happens, and along with everything else. So we got a Showdown coming up next, and then we got First Blood after that. So stay tuned.
What's up, everybody? It is Porosaurus and Crimson here to break down what has happened in the last 2 days of the PUBG Online Showdown series for North America. Now, we have had some rule changes. We have had some scheduling changes. But before we get into that, let's talk about what happened on day 2 of the PUBG Online Showdown, Crimson.
Yeah, so day 2, we had Milton Padre coming out top. They got $1,250. Wildcard Gaming came in second place with $1,215, so not a big difference between those two teams. And E United came in third place on that day, earning themselves $985.
Yeah, I mean, Milton Padre coming in first place, but they came in first place game 1 and 2. Didn't really show up much the rest of the time. They only had 20 kills, so it's really just cash made off of placements. Meanwhile, second place Wildcard more than doubling the amount of kills that Milta Padre had. They actually went on an absolute tear that day with 46. Nobody else in the lobby anywhere near them. That's kind of one of the fun things about this cash for kills and cash replacement system, right? Is that you get to see an instant tangible benefit for the work that you do in game.
Yeah, for sure. However, they then changed the rules between day 2 and day 3.
They did change the rules. So now first place nets $500 and second place netting $250. So that's a big drop off there between first and second. So coming in first place, obviously worth a lot of money to these guys. It's going to decrease by 50 each time from second all the way to sixth, and then you get into the $25, the $20 here, there, 15, 10, whatever, who cares? Bottom of the leaderboard. It's just basically, pocket change for showing up kind of stuff. But kills also now worth $10, and you also get the $100 bonus for having that first blood kill. So before we even talk about day 3, do you think this would have an impact on the way these teams play?
You've got to assume it's gonna, right? I mean, it's probably one of the most top-heavy point systems we see in any league, right? Literally twice as many points. I mean, we're calling it points, but it's cash. But
not even points.
Not even points. It's cash. But at the end of the day, that's what you're playing for. So it's a huge amount just for coming first and second.
So we had day 3. The other thing we were talking about, obviously, changes to point structure, changes to the money, the payout system, but also dropping from 5 games a night down to just 3 games a night. I know that there's a lot of opinions about this. Personally, I'm just kind of like, 3 games a night. I'd like to see more. I'd like to see more from the top teams in North America. I'd like to see them play more games, but I understand, it's a management decision. That's fine, whatever. So we get our 3 games from day 3. For this one, E United coming out on top in first place with I think $1,335. Space Station coming in second with $720. C9 coming in third with $660. This time around, E United 31 kills. They believe they had 2 victories. Yeah, back-to-back game 1 and 2 victories. So a really, really strong performance from these guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference there. I mean, Space Station Gaming basically taking the placement points again because they only got 11 kills compared to the 31 of United and 24 of Cloud9. So, but yeah, quite a big difference between the top rather than the first day. Now, I don't know if that was maybe because of a change in the meta due to the change in the point system. I mean, you casted the games. Did you see anything different with this new system?
I can honestly tell you 100%. Game 1 was going pretty normal, like what we'd expect to see. Game 2, you started to see a little bit of these teams are doing something. You're like, I wonder why they're doing that. That seems a little bit aggro. Game 3, it was just like, okay, these guys are adjusting their play style. They are not playing this like they would play any other normal competitive points-based type of series. You had Pyro Gaming hot dropping on top of 2 teams in Yasnaya. You had Duel hot dropping Ghost in Milta. You had Ghost bridge camping Duel in game 2. I mean, you had these teams are just doing all types of stuff that you're just never used to seeing them really do, and it's creating this kind of hyper aggressive style of play, which I'll be honest is kind of entertaining to watch just because it's so far removed from the normal way that they play. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it kind of feels like it's turning into a bit of a show match, right? And at the end of the day, this is for show, right? This is a spectator sport. So if it's an interesting thing to watch and if it brings the action and that sort of thing, then fine. Obviously there's some potential downsides, if you are a fan of a team that gets hot dropped 3 games in a row and they do nothing because they get hot dropped 3 games in a row, that's not going to be a good spectator experience for you personally. So there's upsides and downsides to it. I think my only issue with it is right now, this is the NA Pro scene, right? There is nothing else going on at the moment. So it's got to be rough.
I think you also kind of touched on something that's kind of important to keep in mind. Now, I don't know. I don't know how if anybody from OGN is watching this show. I don't know if any of the people that are going to be picking, qualifier invites or league invites based off of PUBG League stuff is watching this show. If you are, I'm here to tell you right now, please don't base your qualifier invites or your Pro League invites off of what you're seeing from PUBG Online Showdown Series right now. It's a completely different game. It's a completely different meta. And I hate to, it sucks because you want to tell these teams, you're like, look, I know that this particular league is calling for you to do a play style that's different than what you're used to. It's different from any other pro kind of standard that we've seen so far. But right now is the time when you've got these, OGN going back in time, and they're looking to see, okay, who are we going to do? How are we going to base these invites? How are we going to base our qualification structure? We don't even know. We have no idea how they're going to be doing this. But you shudder to think that they're going to be coming in here and looking at Showdown Series games as a way to kind of make that justification, right?
Yeah, and if you haven't watched the games and you're doing it off a leaderboard, you wouldn't know any different, right? You'd be looking at this, you'd say, all right, United, great, 31 kills, and they got this many points or cash or however you call it. They're doing really good, right? I'm sure they did do really good, but the way they did that is not necessarily what they're going to be doing in a Pro League situation. It doesn't mean they're a good team in that Pro League situation for any of the teams on the leaderboard. So if you're coming in and trying to look, and probably, if I was going to do this, I would run through and get a spreadsheet up of different results from different tournaments, right? That's just a number on there. United number 1, for example, on the leaderboards. And yeah, it's not a good way to do it when it's so different, as you say.
Yeah, and I guess the argument here is to say that, and this isn't anything against PUBG Online Showdown. I'm casting for it. I love it. I think it's extremely entertaining. I think it's fun to watch. And I think that, now that more teams are going to be kind of doing this as they go through, trying to go seek for these kills, it makes for this highly aggressive playstyle. But I just don't want it to come down to, at the same time, I don't think a first place overall in PUBG Online Showdown equates with first place in like GLL Season 3 in the lobby, right? It's just too,
sure. Yeah.
It's not saying that one's better than the other. It's just saying that they're just so different, right? This is a kill intensive, money driven system where the other is a points and placement to try to go to the end of season land type of thing, which that one is a lot more similar to what we're going to be seeing in OGN. This one is more similar to what we'd be seeing from like an all-stars match.
Yeah, exactly.
In the future, maybe.
I mean, with that in mind, we've got the overall leaderboard. So this is obviously only three days played so far. But at the top, we got United, who've taken away. So it's worth mentioning the rule changes about the extra money that was applied retroactively to the placements and the kills from previous games, previous days. So we're now looking at United on the top with a total of $2,465 earned so far. Wildcard Gaming, second place, $2,300, and Milta Padre, 2,225. So and then after that we've got Ghost, Optic, Pyro, Envy, Jewel as the top 8. You can check them out on the mainline website. Let's roll some of the clips from this action-packed last day of Showdown Series, and you can check it out.
Dueler and Milta. Did Duel hot drop Ghost?
I think they did. I think they got really mad after that bridge camp. But also, Dignitas, they didn't go Severity. They're going AS9. These three Yaz teams all in this southeastern corner. I don't know. Everyone's wanting to get this first blood kill. But Adam, he's got a DSS. He's got a lot of squads up against him.
Prodigy doesn't even have a gun. He's just going along for moral support here as Big Adam and Young Bay getting pushed by an entirety of Pyro. Firmi's going to go down to A-Lo. Who's going to be the first one to eat it here? Honey Badger's got the shotgun. He sees Young Bay. The shots aren't going to be able to come out. Young Bay's going to go down. That's Pyro picking up 2 kills right off the jump. And now Dignitas, Transcend, what are they going to do? They're still in Yasnaya. Transcend has another one down that hasn't been finished off just yet. But Pyro, what happened? Pyro just being super aggressive there, deciding that they've just had enough.
Oh, look at this. Transcend. They are crawling, and they're crawling as slow as possible to make no sound. Baja may have no clue.
Wiggle.
What they're doing here. Yeah, wiggle.
Getting a little bit closer. They must not have grenades. They know that somebody's in here. They have to.
Oh,
look
wait.
at Baja's watching. He must have. He's looking right through this window. Wiggle.
He's looking at us. Oh, there's the nade.
Oh no.
Oh, if he's able to land it in.
He heard it. I think they heard the pin. Yeah, they pulled out just in time. So now Baja Walker finding himself in a 2v1. Triggs actually takes down Smeagol. Triggs is going to be the last one. No, it's not going to be enough as Triggs goes down from H-Win from range. Try to survive a little bit longer, but he's got to make his moves to get in as well. Shrimsy going to get the grenade, is going to do some damage onto Zampa, but now Tempo is completely aware of Team Gate's presence. And that is a big fight that I'm not sure they want just yet. But your boy Dre going to go down lane. Dune is going to be traded out from Maloof. Zampa goes down, but Shrimps is going to go down as well. It's going to be Smithy is the last one up, and it's going to be a 1v1 now, I think, between Smithy and it's going to be Los. Los, the last remaining member up for Tempo, but it looks like they're going to pull off of this for now.
Oh,
no, Smithy! Sharky heard the shots. Oh, Sharky's going to go down to Pistola time, though. E-United comes up on this at exactly the wrong time for FlyQuest. Sharky's going to go down. Yeah, Drassel definitely in trouble here as Lynxy starting to make his way around, creep walking around, but there's not really any way he can get up in there. Drassel finding himself in a nice little defilade, a little bowl here. If Lynxy's got a grenade, though, this could be trouble. And yeah, I wonder if this bridge camp is more a result of the money for kills thing.
Maybe. I mean, they've camped before.
Oh,
Drassel!
Oh, we got him! Drassel, the god, with the quick AK shots. That's going to be it for Lynxy.
Okay, so next up we've got Avenger, who's going to come on and talk to us about the Face It Sunday Cup and also the competitive version 4 settings that they've been doing some testing on. But before that, Poro, we had the First Blood Invitational as well this weekend, which was broadcast on Stream.me. What can you tell us about it?
Not much. I mean, it was on Stream.me, first of all. From what I understand, not some great viewing quality there. So we're just going to call it the First Blood Contractual Obligation Cup. To get that Stream Me dollars, but look, we had a nice mix of North American and European teams. Wild Card coming out ahead, coming out on top in first place. Cloud9 right behind them in second. Team Ready in third. Envy in fourth, and Liquid in fifth. The only other kind of noteworthy thing about this is that new TSM roster, that freshly minted, hot, sexy new roster playing. Finding themselves in 8th place outside of the top, 3 or 5. I don't think anybody's really going to be putting this one on their resume. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, it's nice to have money. More money in the scene is better. We're not going to say against that. Unfortunately, it was a pretty poor viewing experience, and the whole point of the thing is about viewing it. So I'm sure the guys know that, and I'm sure they will be looking to use different broadcasting services for future events. But anyway, right, let's just get straight into...
I know you got to do what you got to do to get, whatever funding you can get, but Stream Me, maybe hit them up and say maybe fix your viewing platform before we host another event.
Yeah, sadly it's not the first time for Stream.me in the PUBG scene, and they haven't improved, let's put it that way. Anyway, swiftly moving on, we'll now speak to Avenger about Face It and the competitive settings.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Now, we did have the premiere of the Face It Sunday Cup today, and with us right now, I have Martin, Avenger. So about this Face It Sunday Cup, it just finished the EU part of it. And I mean, so far, I think it went pretty smooth. We saw a lot of teams.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have 128 slots. And as of now, you have to check in an hour before. If you don't check in half an hour before game starts, then new teams can sign up. And usually on Face It championships like this, we see kind of 10 to 20% fall out. And then new teams can sign up.
So about it, who can join in on this? Can anybody just join in on the cup?
Yeah, so basically everyone can join in, everyone can sign up. You need to make a team, not a party like you usually do. So you just go onto Face It and add your 3 friends you want to play with and make a permanent team, and then you can sign up to the cup.
It's probably going to be open by the time we air this, though.
It's probably it's going to be open it's open now, so you can go in there, blah blah blah. I think it's live now, and you can go in and sign up on Face It, fc.gg/PUBG. But obviously, it's going to be announced on the site. So, I think also me and Miniman, we're both going to share it on Twitter, so people can check that out as well.
All right, so make sure to follow him on Twitter. You see his handle down below there, right below him. Below you. Yeah, right there. Do you need some sort of subscription for this, or can...
No.
Okay, so anyone can just join it. You don't need this PUBG subscription either.
For this particular tournament and cup, we don't want to have a paywall behind it or in front of it, so people can sign up wherever they're from, depending on the region. We have both North America and EU, and in EU it's both EU West and it's EU East as well. So CIS teams, Turkey, etc., they can play as well in the EU region.
So the rule set is the version 3 comp settings.
Yeah.
And it is unified point settings that we're using for it.
Yeah.
What more do we have that could be interesting to know?
Prize pool, yeah. So it's $2,000 every Sunday.
For each region.
For each region. So first wins $1,000, second gets $700, and third gets $300.
So how about the format? Can you break it down to me how like the whole tournament is built up?
Yeah, so sure. I mean, in Europe, because we know Europe is kind of a big region, both with EU West and East.
Yeah.
We want to have as many spots as possible. So we made it 128 teams, and you have to get top 8. It's best of 3 in 3 rounds, so 3 matches, 3 rounds, and you have to get top 8 in the first stage and get top 4 in the second stage to get in the final. How it's also working is, so we're taking their FACEIT skill level in PUBG, mixing it up or matching it up, adding it together, and then we seed all the teams depending on their FACEIT skill level, actually. So instead of having non-seeded teams or anything, risk having all the big orgs in the same group, making sure that no other teams would be able to get through that group, we kind of seed it out. So we have the teams that grind a lot, obviously, in FACEIT, they're going to be seated in the top. So we make sure that the lobbies aren't too stacked, and we do that throughout both rounds in Europe and in the first round, because there are only 2 stages in North America.
All right. And also this will be run every Sunday from here on.
Except maybe some Sundays that collide with something else.
Like Christmas, New Year's.
That could be something like that. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure, but the plan is to run it every Sunday.
Good to see like something like this happening. I think this is one of the things that we're missing out right now. We do see a lot of like the big leagues and stuff, but having stuff like this every week that like anybody could join, I think it's a really good thing. Like you just gather up your friends, you're like, hey, what are you doing on Sunday? And they're like, nothing. Oh, well, okay, let's sign up for the FACEIT Sunday Cup, right?
What are you doing on Sunday? I'm having a hangover. Okay, perfect. You get up at 1, you have to play. I'll make sure to check in.
If we just take a quick look at the results from today, I'm just gonna go through the top 3, which was the one that got into the money. The prize pool, and on first place we had Reciprocity, so congratulations, they won the $1,000. Then you had Team Liquid on second place with the $700, and Moonwolf on third place with the $300.
And then Alliance on fourth place, where the coach gives some beers that land.
Yes, we'll give them that on the after party.
Perfect.
All right, so there is one thing that is probably on everybody's mind right now. What is going on with the PUBG comp settings? Now, we have seen some playtests go on with version 4 playtest comp settings. Martin, can you explain it to me? What is this? Why are we doing this?
I mean, obviously, I think there's multiple reasons, and you might think now that everybody has adopted it, I mean, we're getting unified settings and Starlight is running competitive version 3 now. Why are we changing this? We're not changing it. The idea is to obviously play test it first, and we don't want to change it for Ukraine. We don't want to change it before January, February. If we could get this adopted to the Pro League globally, that would be a great thing. But the reason why we're testing it right now and doing it publicly is also to get people to talk about it. I think is quite important, because I feel like there's kind of many feel like there's kind of a problem. We've seen PKL, the PUBG Korean Pro League, have their preseason or their first season of the global kind of settings, and but they've been testing some settings where they show the circle in the plane. They've cut out about 6 minutes of game time, total game time. They up the loot to 6 times ARs and kind of a lot of loot overall in general. And I feel like it's kind of chaotic, and I don't feel like it's battle royale in the way it should be a battle royale, where we still like need to have competitive integrity. So me and Yannick and a lot of other guys that have been testing, and the guys that originated or originally started the competitive settings, we talked how can we improve the version 3 settings, because the overall goal with version 4 is obviously to have viewers be more more intrigued. Also for them to think it's kind of it's interesting to watch. What we want to cut out is what is kind of the boring parts or the less interesting part, which is the long loot time, for example. And when you have that many games, we have 15, 20 games at LAN events. It's just the same kind of 6 to 7 minutes the casters are talking about. If we cut down the loot time and increase the loot, it's going to be kind of the same, right? You're going to meet in the middle. I feel like it's a win-win. The test we've been running is we up the loot a lot, 6 times on ARs, 3 times on snipers, a lot of meds. And we cut out 6 minutes as well, like they have in PKL, because they've been trying to aim for this like exact minute mark of around 30 and a half. So we try to aim for the same. So we up the early game a lot. We see fights going on already after 4 to 6 minutes instead of the usual, sometimes 10, sometimes 13, depending on where the circle goes. And the whole idea with it is, first of all, have the viewers think it's interesting to watch and have the viewers stay for all of the duration of the match. Second of all is keep the competitive integrity. It's going to be after 20 matches. If you play 20 matches in a row and you do it over 2 or 3 months, and there's no team changes and the teams have the same amount of training, the top 3 teams should nearly always be the same, right? Yeah. If you have the same kind of good teams. And that's also what kind of the idea is, that you want to reduce RNG and you want to keep the competitive integrity to make sure that, first of all, it's the right team that wins, and also that it's very interesting to watch. We've been streaming them publicly, and so far it's been a success. I think we had when I streamed them the last time, I think we had between 250 and 300 viewers, which is a huge thing. And
how did people react to it? Like, did they like it?
Very positive. There is very good interaction. First of all, a lot of the big pro teams, they joined in and played the tests. So the internal feedback was very good, which means we're going to be able to fine tune it even more. We're going to have some more play tests next week, and I feel like the viewers they were very intrigued. Obviously,
you said 6 times AR, you said 3 times meds, for example.
Yeah.
Now, what is the numbers if we look at comp version 3?
So let's look at the comparison. So today in version 3, we have 1.5 ARs, and in the new one, it's 6 times. So it's 4 times more.
Yeah.
We have 1.3 snipers. In the new one, it's 3 times. So we don't want to give too many snipers out. We don't want to have too many DMRs. The SLR is kind of not broken. It's OP, but it's super rare right now. And we had a lot of that kind of felt I found them. So we want to find kind of a balance point where if we give less time to loot, it's not just less time to loot where you get everything. It's still like you have to spend more time looking after the proper guns. And then attachments, sights, and meds, they are all on version 3. They're all on the 1 times, but they are 3 times on the version 4 playtest we did so far. And then we put SMGs, shotguns, and pistols on 1 time, and they are also 1 time today. But because we have so much more loot, and the specific areas, ARs, SMGs, and so on, they don't touch each other. So you can put ARs on 6 and SMGs on 6, and it's not going to interfere. But we caught out 6 minutes of the early game as well, 4.5 of them in the phase 1 and 2. I feel like we're getting there, but it's going to take a lot of testing before, when we started this competitive settings talk, before, I think it was late December, before Awesome back in year, when Miniman started it together with Yannick, and I joined in as well. It took hundreds of matches of tests where we tried to fine tune it, because also in the PKL settings, you can't outrun the circles, which is like, why can't you outrun the last circles? Like, you should be able to outplay it. You shouldn't be dying to the blue. I don't feel like it's a proper battle royale. If you die to the blue, you need to die to other players, right? So we fine-tune it so you can run into the circles. From phase 4, you can outrun the circles, and you can outplay other players depending on where they are and your positions and your decision making. What we did as well, we made the last circle bigger. So we didn't cut it out, but it looks like it's cut out. But we put the extra phase into the early game, so we have bigger circles basically. So compared to version 3, the circles are approximately 8% to 23% wider in diameter, and then the last circle is even bigger. So we tried to increase the last circle as much as we could. So it's now 170 meters, so we don't gift someone a win, and the RNG doesn't decide who's the winner. So everybody is pressured into the zone at the same time.
So just to end it now, like if you're a viewer, you've been watching the playtest and so on, can the viewers somehow give you feedback on these tests, what they think about it, and where could they do it in that case?
Well, obviously, tweet at me if you've been it, but also join the playtest when we do it. I stream it on my channel, but join in the debate. We're having a very open debate on my Twitch channel, and a lot of people join. I think we had I think I had 1,100 unique chatters or something, which is like 10 times more than I usually do. So a lot of people, they joined in and they were very invested. And I feel like the core of the competitive community, both viewers and the players, they're very invested into making the settings as competitive as possible, but also as futile as possible for the viewers and for everything in the future. Obviously, PUBG Corp has announced their Pro League, and it's a 5-year plan and everything. But it's super important for to have viewers, because obviously what the Pro League will live off is the amount of viewers.
Yeah. So if there's any TOs out there who sees this right now and you want to be joining in on this, make sure to contact Avenger on this. You have his Twitter down below, so just throw him a DM. Throw me or someone else from PUBG Weekly a DM. We'll help you sort of contact out as well if needed. But yeah, I think with that, thank you so much for joining us, Martin.
Thank you for having
me. Yeah, we'll move on to the next segment. Thank you everyone for joining us for this week. For the next week, we'll be looking into GLL Wingman. We got PUBG Online, Hell Week, and of course all the other PUBG esports related stuff we'll try to bring up for you. Now don't forget, if you have any feedback or anything you want us to cover, make sure to hit us up Twitter, email, YouTube. You got everything down below in the panels. Also, big thanks to our special guest Avenger for this week, but also Wacko, who's doing all the editing behind the scenes that you guys don't see. And of course, Miss Ellie helping us out behind the scenes as well with some clips and stuff. And with that said, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next week.